2226. Okay, we are on record today for our, let's see, this is the third dispositional review. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Lee Heights, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Visitations Thomas, counsel for the department.
Kristen Smith, foster care worker, Catholic Charities.
Michael Brooks, I represent the father, Ruben Zavala Garcia. Mr. Garcia, would you identify yourself?
You'll have to unmute on your end. I'm hoping that that will work to allow you to do that.
Good morning.
Okay,
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Ruben Zavala Garcia.
thank you, welcome. Okay,
Michael McFarland representing Caitlin Smith, mother. I'm told she's joining us on Zoom.
okay, Ms. Smith, are you able to confirm that you're with us?
I am.
Thank you so much. Very good. Okay, Ms. Heights.
Thank you, Your Honor. The caseworker helped me organize an observation of Mateo while he was at a visit with his mother. There appears to be a very strong bond that continues there, even though Mateo is placed outside of the home. Now, mother is taking extra steps to be able to communicate with the child, and they're incorporating some external computer type things to be able to communicate and this evaluation for autism, where he was found to have autism, as many who care for him thought would be the case, includes many very intricate measurements of his receptive language, his expressive language, his ability to join a group, his ability to, he's such an interesting kid. He pushes and pulls you to show you what he wants. And when you leave the room, you're like, I guess I didn't hear him speak, but he's engaging. And his mom is able to understand, and she knows what he can say and what he can't say. The placement accompanying him to the autism evaluation, and they are meeting all of his needs. Mother is maintaining her sobriety through a methadone maintenance program. So I think the case is on track. I agree with the agency's evaluation that we should continue with the goal of reunification. And I think we were talking about expanding, let me see. Yeah, and for the agency to have the discretion to allow unsupervised parenting time, I think that I support that as well. I haven't met with the family this review period, but their goal was to have mom become sober and become a good parent. And I'm seeing that on this end, but I will include the family in my investigation in the next review period. They always have a lot more to know. They've had some significant illness and that kind of thing. But anyway, that concludes my report, Your Honor.
Thank you, and thank you for touching on permanency. I do want to confirm that today was scheduled also for a permanency planning hearing. Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Smith, please speak. Ms. Kristen, Ms. Kristen Smith this morning.
All right, Ms. Smith, come on up to our witness stand. Yep, and then I'll swear you in today. That's all right.
Sorry, it's a little different today.
That's okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas.
All right, the key names got me mixed up there. Sorry about that.
I know, it happens a lot.
Okay, Ms. Smith, thank you so much, one, for providing your court report and all of the attachments. And I just want to review that other than the ones that are listed on your cover sheet, there are no other attachments that have been circulated since then.
Correct.
Okay, and to the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to your court report or any of the attachments?
Just a few updates. So Mateo originally was seen for his initial dental when he first came into care. At that dental appointment, he wasn't cooperative. I don't know the details of it, but in that dental exam, it just says that a visual assessment was completed, and that was it. So then he followed up with a 6-month dental. And at that appointment, he wasn't seen by a pediatric dentist. He was seen by just a family dentist, and they had noticed some concerns and some significant decay. So they had referred him to a pediatric dentist. So Mateo was just seen at Willow Pediatric Dentist on the 18th, I believe. And he does have some significant work that needs to be done. He is scheduled on November 7th to have, they're gonna see how much work they can do, but he needs 8 crowns and some, I think, a couple surface fillings and then some sealant. So we've been working with Caitlin, and she is gonna attend that appointment, and they're gonna do an oral sedation and like wrap with like a blanket to see how much work he can get done at that appointment. But other than that, for Mateo, he is doing well. School, he is still, for the most part, nonverbal. Caitlin did, and it is in my court report, but her and I spoke recently, and she did initiate, she was interested in taking a sign language class. So I was able to get with DHS to have that expense paid for, and she's doing an online college education course through Jackson College to learn sign language, to be able to incorporate that with her visits with Mateo. So I think that was really awesome to take on something that wasn't asked of her to do. But she has been sending, she sent me last night some more some negative drug screens, methadone maintenance progress, as well as a pay stub, which those were, sent to me last night by text, so we're not submitted to the court. But her and I did discuss this week that should the court allow for the discretion to have unsupervised visits, right now she has 2 pretty consistent people who transport her. So the agency had just asked that that individual give us, a copy of their valid driver's license, proof of insurance and registration, and as long as they were able to provide those things to us, then that person could, with Caitlin in the vehicle, also pick up and drop off Mateo for visits on weekends or evenings, so they can expand their parenting time and they can visit in Caitlin's home.
And at this time, what would be the substantial risk of harm if the court were to return the child to mom at this time?
So right now, with Mateo being diagnosed with autism and needing that more than any child in care, that routine, that structure, and right now he is only seeing her, weekly. He's gotten used to that routine. So it would be detrimental to him right now to just return him right back to her care. Her and I have discussed that from now to the next review, we would want to work on a transition plan. I would like her to look into a school in Jackson, reliable transportation, public transportation, see if we can get the Blue Mind ABA therapy to come to her house. So a lot still needs to be set up on that end.
And generally speaking, for this family, what is your recommendation remains that the family work toward transportation, correct?
Correct.
I guess other than the barriers you mentioned for mom, are there any other barriers you'd like to highlight to that goal at this time for either parent?
To my knowledge, Ruben Zavala Garcia remains incarcerated. I believe he has a parole hearing, but I think his earliest release date was still October of 2026. He is engaging in services that he can participate in, but Mateo does not. He's never met Mr. Garcia, nor has he had any communication with him. It's difficult because Mateo is nonverbal. But at this time, he wouldn't be able to be reunified with Mr. Garcia.
Generally speaking, how would you just summarize the parents' compliance with the benefit from their individual case service plans?
Mr. Garcia is doing what he can. Like he says, his hands are tied. He's engaging in the services that are offered to him there. And during this reporting period, Caitlin's done really well. She's attended every parenting time. She's communicated with me, gotten the things that I've asked for. Visits are going really well with her and Mateo. He he knows when Wednesdays are. He's excited to see her. He gets off the bus. So I think she's doing really well.
I know at the last hearing, the transportation was brought up, and so thank you for also just providing a layer of communication there for the court that the agency is supporting her in that area of need. Is there anything else that you would like to highlight from your court report? It's very thorough, so I don't want to spend a ton of time going through it with you, but if there's anything you'd like to highlight at this time from the court report or any of the attachments, you can do so now.
I don't think so. I just regarding the transportation, it's still, there is still, you know, a transportation barrier just because Caitlin right now doesn't have the valid driver's license or a reliable vehicle. However, she's made it to every visit. The agency has, you know, given her the weekly gas cards, and Jackson at least has more options for public transportation. So hopefully once Mateo is reunified with her, between, you know, the transportation that she already has set up for herself, there is public transportation that she could utilize.
Thank you. There are no further questions for Ms. Smith. We move to admit the court report with the attachments.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you, they are received. Questions, Mr. McFarland?
I do. Looks as though one of the principal barriers was addiction, and my client seems to be doing very well on that. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And I know the plan is to expand to unsupervised parenting time. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
What do you anticipate that will look like?
We've discussed weekends, either Saturday and Sunday, maybe a couple hours both times, a longer visit, an all-day visit. But with Mateo goes to school full-time. He gets off the bus and home about, when he gets dropped off to our office, it's about 3:20. So I think that time is pretty close. And then he has ABA therapy in the home from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, which will continue. So
First of all, mother does have substantial money to pay off before she can get her license back. Am I accurate on that?
yes,
Okay.
I don't know the dollar amount, but I believe it's
Your employer is whom?
my employer.
Yes.
Catholic Charities.
Okay, I presume that when you drive your own personal vehicle, you get reimbursed like at 58 cents or 62 cents per mile, which is the IRS allotment, right?
48 cents. but
48
yes.
cents, okay. Is there any reason why the driver for my client wouldn't get reimbursed at that same price per mile rather than just a flat $20? I mean, I don't see how that can cover it with gas being over $3 a gallon.
I'm not sure how, I mean, we reimburse foster parents and relative caregivers to transport the child back and forth, but to my knowledge, I don't know if the state would reimburse.
Well, do you reimburse based upon how much gas is actually used, or how do you come up with that fee? I'm just curious.
We just assist Caitlin, and I've provided her with, you know, a weekly $10 or $20 gas card each week. To my knowledge, Caitlin hasn't had, I mean, she's thankful and she's never asked for more.
Sure. Focus for Caitlin right now. Where do you think that she should be spending, in addition to what she's doing? Is there any other areas that she needs to focus on?
Like her and I discussed, just during this next reporting period, you know, I want her to start exploring, should Mateo be returned to her care in the near future, you know, what that's going to look like. Who's going to be her child care provider when needed? What school is he going to attend? How is he going to get there? ABA therapy in the home, her work schedule, how will that be accommodated?
Since the goal is still reunification, would you support having the discretion to give her more parenting time to support the reunification?
Yes, as long, I mean, we're asking that we just have it just, you know, for unsupervised, so that could be as much as she is able to.
That was the clarification I was doing.
Yes.
Oh, nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks?
Ma'am, at page 4 of your report, it says that Mr. Garcia is eligible for a parole hearing in October of 2024. You testified it was 2026. So which is it?
I've seen both dates. He has, I think, said on the record that his earliest release date is 2026, and I think he said that he might be eligible for parole this October. That would be a question. He hasn't clarified that in any of our correspondence. I believe one letter that he did write me, said that he might be out in 15 months. That is in my report. I don't have that in front of me.
The young child, this young Mr. Wall, he's 4, right?
He will be 4 in November, yes.
And a dentist is recommending crowns on that boy's teeth.
Yeah, it's actually not uncommon. So the teeth that they're all baby teeth. If they aren't the front teeth, those teeth fall out very early in age. But it's the back teeth that need to remain intact until the age of 10, maybe 12. So if the decay is so bad, they need to preserve that tooth and keep that tooth in place until he is 10 or 12, where it would naturally push through. And that would preserve the nerve and everything else. So if they pull that tooth, because it's a baby tooth, all of the alignment of all of his teeth coming in as he grows are not gonna be good.
Thank you. That's all.
Ms. Hess?
Mother's on methadone maintenance treatment, correct?
Yes.
And is she seeing that program daily for her medicine?
Yes.
And then she gets a dose to take home, so she has 2 doses a day, correct?
Yes, and Caitlin, she can kind of maybe explain this or correct me if I'm wrong, but because of the way that her body was metabolizing the methadone, they split the same dose in half. So she takes half in the morning, she takes that half home, the half later.
And there is a plan in place to reduce the amount of medication-assisted treatment.
Yes.
So at some point, this AANA that she's doing is gonna become important when she no longer is on the medicine. Do you agree?
Yes, as she's dosing down.
Are you able to gauge her benefit from the AANA part of her treatment?
Yes, so her and I talked a lot about the AA and NA meetings. She voiced that she is attending on Sunday evenings by Zoom. I asked her and encouraged her at first to attend in person, but then her and I spoke, and I mean, unfortunately, where AA meetings take place in Jackson are not the best area. And she said, honestly, it kind of reintroduces you, and there's more triggers when you go to these meetings in person. If I'm home, I'm safe, I'm not out,
If she's benefiting from the service.
I mean, she's maintained her sobriety, so I feel like if she's maintaining sobriety, then she's benefiting from the service.
Have you touched base with her methadone treatment facility to get evaluation of her counseling component?
Yes, her counselor's Tori, and her and I are in pretty good communication by email.
Do you think she would give us something in writing for the next review period?
She would, however, it's gonna look exactly like the one that I've already submitted. The Victory Clinic and a lot of substance abuse or methadone maintenance clinics are very particular on their wording and what releases. Caitlin signed all the releases. They've acknowledged she signed all the releases unless she is having positive screens or is abusing a substance and gets booted from the program. I mean, she attends weekly. She meets with her counselor every week.
Thank you, nothing further.
She's engaging in the services.
Thank you.
All right, I see it looks like we've had Ms. Smith undertake the one parenting program. And we had the results of that come back to us in July, that court report, which I appreciate. But also during that time frame, it appears she was consistently testing positive for illicit substances. And I'm wondering if there's a further need to revisit parenting education beyond the sign language piece that's in place now, such as orchards services or something else that could help with budgeting and some of the other pieces that we sometimes see for other parents.
I don't feel that would be a beneficial service to Caitlin at this time. Parenting education isn't going to tackle her biggest issue is substance abuse. And I think that, a parenting education course isn't gonna keep her on track with that. I think her
So are you saying that you just want her primary focus right now to be on her sobriety?
Yes, I think it should remain on her sobriety and then, have the opportunity to engage in some more parenting time with Mateo that's not in our office. I think that's gonna be more beneficial to her. Like I said, for her, this entire reporting period, her visits, although they're supervised, our doors open and we're within an ear and eye shot, and I, hop in there and all the other workers are right there too, and there aren't concerns or issues during her parenting time.
What does the structure look like for moving supervised visitation into her home?
Supervised visits?
Yes.
We haven't talked about supervised visits. I know that she currently lives with her boyfriend, Mr. Brown. We ran clearances on him. He's appropriate. He works third shift, so I'm not sure what hours he would be home.
Does he have a history of any struggles with drugs or alcohol or?
The only thing that came up was, I'm not sure if it was a drunk driving or an impaired driving, but that was about 13 or 14 years ago. Was the only thing I've been record.
Are you looking at him as a potential supervisor for her to have parenting time at the home then? Or because here's my concern. If we still have positive drug screens for amphetamines and methamphetamines as of July 5th, 2023, I can appreciate that we have a period of a couple of months of sobriety. But at this juncture, given the history and the trauma of the child in the home of his mother with regard to her use of substances, and there's a mood disorder, and it just looks like from where I'm sitting, the safest way to evolve parenting time would still be to have that supervised component for her, preferably in the home, so that when they're in context, they would have the supports that they would need. Is that in alignment with what you were planning, or what are your thoughts?
We were looking just to do unsupervised visits where she would be responsible for going to pick up Mateo, transport him back to his house, and then take him back home for the visit. But if, we still look at if we're trying to keep it supervised, and if it would be during the week with his school and the ABA therapy, there's not many hours, during the week that we could do this, especially because he lives in Washtenaw County and she lives in Jackson County. It's not, and then he goes to school in my county. So we have a lot, and there's no transportation. So if we were gonna do supervised visits in her home, the only opportunity for that would be on the weekends, at which point then I could look at making a referral to Orchards or Wellsprings. I guess it would depend on what county that service is available in, and see if they could help us with, a weekend supervisor.
All right, and it looks like she's having visits just once a week at your office?
Yes,
It looks like it's about, what, 3:20 to 5:20?
yes, he gets off the bus at 3:20.
Thank you. Questions based on my questions?
No, Your Honor.
No.
Yes. Is the reason she's only having the one visit per week is the transportation barrier?
And the ABA therapy,
Got you.
because he also has ABA therapy on Saturdays.
If you were going to expand and do unsupervised visits in mother's home, my presumption is you would test her perhaps before, or you could test her before the visit and after the visit to make sure that she wasn't using prior and wasn't using during, correct? You could do that?
We could, but ours get sent in. It's not an instant, test. It's mailed out, so we wouldn't. I've seen Caitlin during a visit previously. It was apparent that she was under the influence, and that's why that visit was ended.
So there'd be somebody to view her prior to the visit and upon return of the child to make sure that she wasn't using, correct?
Yes, the current caregivers.
Okay. And you trust that they would report that, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Heiss, any questions?
The CTAC trauma assessment has recommendations. Has mom followed this childhood development education program?
I do not believe so. I think
Okay.
that was Is that the online one? Is
I'm
it an
not sure.
online educational?
It says it's a curriculum for parenting children who have experienced trauma. Is that something we could look into to make sure mom is following the recommendations? If her parent education, first of all, was while she was still using, and second of all, didn't come as far as this training had come.
Yes.
Thank you. And then, the ABA therapy is done in the placement home, correct?
Correct.
It's a service from Washtenaw?
I think yes. It's
So is there a chance for them to move it to their office and mom attend it or something? You'll look at all those kinds of combinations.
to move the therapy to an office?
Yeah, or something like that. That would give her more time. I need to know that she's going to really participate in these services and attend and have him there on time and support the services. So one test would be that she takes him to school and picks him up, or make sure that he does that. And that seems more interruptive, but that ABA therapy would be a good way for us to see that she understands the extra effort that's going to be involved in an autistic child with trauma.
To my knowledge, the ABA therapy, it's not an office thing. He has one specific therapist that comes to the home and works with him in the home on his everyday life, to help with his structure, his routine. Right now, they're working with him on like a little sticker and Velcro chart of pictures of, how to express his needs and wants and stuff like that. So, and like I said, and that's 4:30 to 7:30. 4 days a week.
So maybe by the end of the review period, one of those would be in the mother's home, because we really can't transfer him home until those services are set up, but they're not gonna be set up because there's a difference in county.
Correct.
Somehow mom is being disconnected from the ABA therapy information. And I'm not proposing that mom comes to the placement home and learns it, but there's a gap. Anyway, we can work on it. Thank you.
Okay,
One question based upon that.
well, let's do, go ahead.
Would there be any barrier to perhaps mom going to the placement home
Yes.
for that special therapy that she could view for the autism?
Yes.
Nothing further on it.
Thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. Anyone else you'd like us to hear from, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
Let me see if my client would like to testify. Ms. Smith, would you like to testify today? You're on mute. I have to unmute there.
I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further then, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks?
Mr. Zavala Garcia, same question. Is there anything you would like to tell the court?
No, Your Honor, I'm doing the
Well,
best
wait,
I
if you
can.
go, wait, sir, if you want to testify, you have to be sworn in.
Yeah, I swear. Yes,
Oh, yes, okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks?
Go ahead, what's on your mind?
Oh, no, what I wanted to say and clarify that on my parole date, I am on the nonviolence parole process, which allows me an opportunity to be paroled before my earliest possible release date. Just that it has to do a lot with my progress here in prison. It has to do with a lot of just staying out of trouble, and they should give me the opportunity to be paroled for 2026, which that'll be next year on October 18th, 2024. I just wanted to clarify that. Other than that, I am doing my best. I am attending AA meetings. I just sent a copy of my certification of domestic violence program, and I'm staying out of trouble. I'm rehabilitating myself. It's working. I'm feeling good, and I'm really looking, forward to be involved in my kid's life. And like I said, I'm doing whatever I can do in prison. There's not much options in here, but believe me that every morning that I wake up with a positive state of mind, And, looking forward to reunifying myself with my tail. And that's pretty much all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Any questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
No,
No, you are.
Thank you for your testimony. And good luck. Anyone you'd like us to hear from, Ms. Heiss?
no, thank you.
All right, closing comments.
I have none, Your Honor. I think that the report is very thorough and speaks for itself. Thank you.
Gentlemen?
Status quo is what it is for now with respect to my client, Your Honor. I guess we'll see what happens in the coming 12 months.
I think the worker has thought out all the options for my client, who's doing very well, has maintained sobriety. And I think she'll take to heart the suggestions the court has made. We hope to have expanded unsupervised parenting time for my client, and that she continue on the same path for reunification. I think that should continue to be the goal.
No comments, thank you.
Well, the court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review hearing. As usual, I appreciate Ms. Smith's thorough recitation of the facts and documentation of the services that are being authorized and taken advantage of by both parents. That also constitutes proof for me to find certainly that she's in satisfaction for obligations to provide those reasonable efforts to the family. Thank you as well to Ms. Heiss. You are in satisfaction for your obligations, and to our attorneys for their advocacy. As it relates to the goal, it is clear at this point, based on Mom's very good progress in the last report period, that reunification is the proper goal for this family. I would note that as much as we celebrate that success, that it is the priority of the court to ensure that we see Ms. Caitlin Smith continue to demonstrate a significant term of sobriety, as well as success in maintaining employment and housing and engagement with her son as far as visitation, as well as in his services. Ms. Heiss highlighted this, and I want to highlight it as well, that we'll need to see Ms. Smith demonstrate that she's able to reach that next level of support for her son and attend some of those things that he needs to be at, and engage on that in that aspect of things. Things as simple as if there's a school event or parent-teacher conferences, or checking in on what's happening with them weekly. And of course, the therapeutic opportunities there for engagement. That is relevant for purposes of giving some more time to demonstrate sobriety, as well as to demonstrate progress on our case services plan. The case was brought before the court as a result of Ms. Smith's difficulty with substances that impacted her ability to care for and protect her son on a regular basis. And some of those barriers remain in place, such as the transportation, for example. I'd like to see her engaged in budgeting and looking at that piece to clear up those issues with her license, and hopefully she'll be able to do that with her new promotion at work. Congratulations on that. So you're on the right track, and I appreciate your progress. I would like to see visitation expanded to incorporate some opportunities with services. But at this time, the court will not authorize unsupervised visitation until we see some of those pieces in place. That does not mean that it has to be at the facility or at at Catholic Charities, but I do understand that that will be a challenge. So I'll ask Ms. Smith to do a family team meeting, and of course invite Ms. Heiss to that in the next couple of weeks to look at what parenting time looks like and identifying some of the other things to continue to work on as we look at reunification between Ms. Smith and her son. In the meantime, he will remain in his foster care placement that is the safest and least restrictive under the circumstances until we can see Ms. Smith continue her success to a point where she's able to meet the heightened needs of her child. And of course, we're glad to hear Mr. Zavala Garcia is doing well in his programming in California. And we'll look for Ms. Smith to continue to update him on what's happening with his son as well. And unless there's any questions, that will be all for today's review. We'll schedule a regular review in January at 1:30 p.m. on January 9th. I do not think that will have to be a permanency planning hearing, although I will note that this is our fourth regular review at this point. And certainly, we'll look for Ms. Smith to be continuing her
1:30.
accelerated success. Hope for the best in their next few months through the holiday. Unless there's any questions, that's all for today. We'll see you Tuesday, January 9th at 1:30 p.m.
Your Honor, our work will not be available that day.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for bringing that up. How about Wednesday? I could do,
On the 10th?
yes.
Yes, that will work.
All right, let's go Wednesday, the 10th at 2:00 p.m.
2 o'clock.
Yes, Wednesday, the 10th of January at 2 p.m.